Welcome to Riverbend Talon on WBGZ. Brought to you by the Halpin Music Company.
That's right. Also brought to you by Matt Van Voorhis, Smart Choice Auto. You didn't turn your mic on?
I did not turn my mic on.
I was going to try it. I can't believe it. Normally, I barely say Matt Van, and he's already talking.
I'm excitable. I don't know. I'm just sitting in the shadows waiting, man. Waiting to see what happens.
Well, I'm surprised. I'm not used to patience.
Well, you messed me up so bad last week where I had a little laughing fit and last week that I thought, you know what, I better just come in calm this week because I lost control last week.
Okay.
I didn't even know where I was for like 10 minutes.
Microwave on?
I can't remember what he said to me. He said something to me. It made me start laughing, and I had a giggling fit and couldn't stop.
I don't think I said it to you.
I
said something to the organ player.
It was about his 49-inch organ.
Right.
Mike Hatfield's 49-inch organ.
What are we talking about here?
The organ player for Borderline. He's got a 49-inch organ that he plays.
Right. Yeah.
And it's a beaut.
I guess he shows it to everybody. Huh?
Every chance he gets. If mine was 49 inches, I would too. I don't know what to say.
Hey, it'd be a lot easier to set up the back. Get a 49-inch organ would be a lot easier than the one you had to get for Family Fest.
Yeah, well, Hammond B3 is much heavier to carry around. So let me introduce
I was going to say, do that.
Let me introduce the dissident voices here for everyone who's like, I hear somebody and it's not you. We've got Shotgun Creek with us. It's been a couple years, I think.
Yeah, since 2 years.
And you'll realize that I'm like, you guys are cool, and he's going to know all the stuff about you because that's the way this game plays. That's how we play this game. I'm talking to Shawn, the drummer, right next to me. Good to see you again, Shawn. Got Kevin, the fiddle player, the guitar. Since we actually have a fiddle, I won't use that term. The guitar man.
Hey.
How you doing, Kevin? And good to see you again, Mr. Jeremy, the vocal stylist, we'll call him.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Shawn, you need to snuggle up to Kevin there a little bit more. Okay, this way, yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
That's first.
I'm going to refer to Jeremy as the crooner of the band.
Okay. That's a compliment. I'll take that.
Yeah. There you go. Missing in action is Aaron, the bass player, and Johnny Rampage, a.k.a. Xavier, the fiddle player. So there you go. That is the band Shotgun Creek, and we were just talking off air a little bit about this whole Johnny Rampage thing, and we're going to have to get into that. We can't let that. Later. Well, I want to finish the story, man. So how you guys been living? How's life treating you? Like you slept with his wife?
Yeah.
That's how it's been treating me.
Like we stole it, man. Life's been great. It's cool to be back, and we were sitting in the room behind us, I believe, last time we were here, and we weren't live, so it's good to know we passed the bar, and we're here live this time. So hello to everybody out there, and thanks for listening to the show, and we're glad to be here. Thank you, fellas, for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for inviting.
Yeah, and we voted long, and it's taken a lot of toiling to say, man, can they handle live? They made me so nervous with their dirty talk.
The last time we were here, it was Jeremy and myself, and that's when we recorded it. So we brought Kevin in to be the calming presence.
We're in trouble.
Jeremy,
I'm not sure how much that's going to calm everybody. I have a mouth like a.
The reason that we didn't invite you back really quick and had to toil over it was because of Jeremy. I'm going to be honest, man. He was mouthy. He was handsy, which I like the handsy part. I like the handsy part. I'm not complaining. That's the good part. No. He was,
you guys were here April 2nd, 2021.
Wow.
Last time.
I appreciate the money I made, by the way.
Yeah, we paid you well, and that's why you came back. And you can see that video on YouTube if you want to go back and check that out.
The damage they did to the green room, though, was insane.
Right.
I don't know what kind of party you guys had before we went on air.
And we're just a country band, guys. Come on.
And we learned that Hicktown and Whiskey Dixon got together and had a love child that produced
Wow.
Shotgun Creek. Remember?
Wow.
Remember? That's what you said last time, Shawn.
No, you said that. We didn't say that.
He said that.
Yeah.
Big Ben was talking.
You
That was-
said wow.
Wow.
You said
Not
wow.
say
Would be a Shawn.
Say it.
Yes.
You just not remember.
Yeah. A little bit of our background. One thing, too, I would like for you guys to hear, people out there to hear Kevin's background. He wasn't here with us, and he's been in so many bands.
Yeah.
If we could, real quick, you could tell him about the bands he's been in, and I don't mean like the long list. He's been in a couple.
Oh no, let's go for the long list.
He's
Let's
been in a
dig
couple great
deep.
bands in this area going back to
Cool.
the 60s. I mean, the 90s. So
Wow, man.
I was going to have to ask him if he was from Kansas City because we had a lot of Kansas City talk going on earlier, and he seems to know a lot about the place.
They
but-
had to throw the old joke in there, make sure everybody knows. So yeah, I played in a lot of bands in the area, but I think some of the top notes are recently Metal Studs, which was a 80s cover band that one of the first bands to really start kind of wearing the wigs and doing all of that. But from way back was a band called Bronx Zoo. That's when I was up and coming, and we had a independent album we released in the St. Louis area, and it got us quite a lot of interest in the business, and we were slotted to record a second album, which would have been a major label release under a producer named Sylvia Massey. At the time, she was recording Tool in her studio when we were making arrangements to come out there to do our thing, and they were merely unheard of at that point. But tragically, before we would get ready to leave to go out there, our drummer was shot and killed in a bad situation, and that kind of just threw everything into a whole different kind of turmoil.
Definitely.
And we had to regroup, and we weren't together too much longer after that. It kind of changed the dynamics of everything so drastically that we just couldn't pick ourselves up, and we didn't have the best management, so. But that's the one that I think most everybody knows is Bronx Zoo.
Yeah, I recognized the name as soon as you said it. I couldn't place it exactly, the time frame, because that could have been the 90s, that could have been the 2000s. I just remember the name Bronx Zoo being one of the popping bands that looked like, man, this could hit.
Yeah.
They're on the cuff. What's going to happen? I didn't realize your drummer had suffered such a demise.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that. My condolences on that.
Well,
That's,
thank you. It was
you're going to find some simpatico with Mr. Dennis over there. He lost a drummer, and it did the same thing where it changed the band drastically, so it like I say, a little simpatico across the table there.
Yeah.
So there you go, man. What like going way back? Did you grow up in this area, Mr. Kevin?
Yeah. Fairmont City is where I was born and raised.
I'm
but
sorry, man. I'm sorry, man. Like, they got a horse track, I spent a
the
lot
horse
of Sunday
track
mornings
is
there.
technically is not in the Fairmont City
Is it Collinsville?
limits. It's
Yes.
considered Collinsville.
Then
Yeah.
why is it called Fairmont Park?
And it's actually not called that anymore.
Really?
They changed their name to something else.
FanDuel.
That's it. Yeah.
Back when I used to go close to it, but like an off-track betting facility because I couldn't afford to get in or whatnot. I'm just kidding. They called it Fairmont Park in my day, man. I was just there for the Sunday buffet, bro.
Yeah, I played there many years later, and they had quite a little nice little thing going on there for bands that cover bands that were in the area working. Yeah, it was pretty nice.
Like so I played in a band with a guitar player who loved to go there on Sunday, and they had a buffet, and they liked to bet on some horses and eat the buffet and have some drinks, and we would do that on Sundays sometimes.
Heck yeah, it's a good time.
But I don't remember bands playing there ever.
Fridays and Saturdays is when they had the bands.
Gotcha. Okay. I wasn't there at the
Go
party.
crazy for Fridays or something like that. I don't remember, but it was an interesting schedule. You would play, I think, a 45-minute set at the beginning, And then after that, it was 3 songs, take a break for a race. 3 songs, take a break for a race. The whole night until the end of the night.
Wow.
And if you weren't a betting person, you played in a band, you were a betting person by the end of the night because you got into it. They went crazy there for the races. It was a good time.
The first time I went was with my guitar player in this band, and I mean, okay, so you just let me know that like Friday and Saturday they're partying there. We're like in our 20s in a metal band and going in Sunday afternoon with all the old people eating brunch.
Yeah,
but you are correct. Where I went there just to go. Why does he go there every Sunday? What's
yeah.
And before you know it, you're sucked in. You're like, oh, I'm betting on Sergeant Pumpernickel on this next race. He looks like a good horse to me and a fine bred. So, so that's good. 3 songs break. So the races only last like a couple of minutes. They don't really last that long.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
so quick. It's not like you can like go get a meal or something while you got time to maybe you go to the restroom or you grab another drink, but they really don't last that long.
No, not that long at all.
So it's 3 songs, 5 to 10 minute break, 3 songs.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
It was a good time.
It sounds like it, but that way I've never heard of a schedule like that because I've never heard of a racetrack schedule. That's cool.
Yeah, we are talking to Shotgun Creek tonight because they're playing a Mardi Gras party down at Pontoon Beach.
Yeah.
At Doits Village Inn, and that is a great place to have a party.
the famous Doits.
World
Village
famous.
Inn. World famous.
It is definitely famous to us. Like every band that we have that plays Doits says what a great party it is and what a great crowd it is. I mean, the party depends as much on the band and the crowd as anything, you know.
Yeah.
So when you got people willing to get up and dance on the table,
on the bar, on the table, I've seen it all.
I can remember going to that place when I was really young with my dad, and when Jeremy first talked about playing there, I wasn't sure if it was the same place, but when I remember pulling up and thinking to myself, holy crap, it is the same place. But Jeremy told me, he told everybody, this is going to be fun place. I think Shawn's played there before in other bands.
Yeah.
But I had never played there. And hands down, it's probably one of the funnest places that we play. And it's that small, intimate, environment. And
you probably weren't too sure at first.
I wasn't sure.
Because you're not going to make as much there as you are at a bigger club. So that's, we don't. But we have gotten our following grew playing at the Village. And we only play there about twice a year. But last year we did the Mardi Gras weekend, and it was such a success. And I've been playing there years. Acoustic, you guys know I do some acoustic stuff. I kind of play at the Village at least every other month, typically. And anyway, played there in old bands. I know Shawn has. But when we played there last Mardi Gras, we just happened to, Angie scheduled us then. I've never seen so many people at that place, and I've been going there for many years. And there was a line outside the door, and I'd heard people left and couldn't get in, and that never happens at the Village.
Yeah.
But what it is I think Granite started last year, and they're doing it again this year, where they have this bus bar tour.
Yeah.
I know Mayor Mike was on here, or not Mayor Mike. Mike. Yeah, his name's Mike too.
Yeah.
So it's the Pontoon Mayor, and thought I was getting him confused, but yeah, he kind of started this, and he's a big music lover. So they got a lot going on in Granite. Granite is a great music town. It's kind of more known as a rock and roll town, but there's some great country music people in Granite. And at the Village, you could probably play a kazoo, and people are going to drink and have a great time because it is a great, great music venue. And if you've never been, you're listening to this show, you've got to go sometime. I hope you come see us, but you got to get to the Village Inn at some point.
Experience the Village.
Doit, I was able to see Doit 2 weeks before he passed away over at his house.
Nice.
Doit was such a great guy, and his legacy will live on and on because he provided a place for 30 years where people could have a good time and put their worries aside for, a few hours or an evening or a day. And anyway, I can't say enough about the place. We're excited to be there next weekend.
Now you said you'd never seen such a big crowd as last Mardi Gras, and then you brought the Granite City thing into it. Do you think that played into the crowd being bigger because Granite City had their thing going on?
I do.
Yeah, because they had like 13, 14 venues. They were running a bus back and forth, but Doits wasn't one of them.
No, Doits isn't one of them. Here's what I think would happen, Pigpen, is that I think the Village Inn, staying open until 12:30. I think it just kind of is, and it's well known, and we do have a decent following, a pretty good following. I'm trying to be humble, but I think down in Granite City, a lot of people know us.
Yeah.
And I think particularly because of the years I've played there too, hasn't hurt, and I'm good friends with the Paragon family, and so people were talking about it, and I think people were ending up there. Friday night was like good Saturday nights are. And that Saturday night of the actual Mardi Gras day when the buses toured, guys, I've never seen anything like it. So it's going to be hard to beat last year. But I'm thinking, man, I don't know. It's going to be crazy. You better get there early to get a good seat if you're listening to this because it's crazy.
The last time I talked to Mike, the mayor of Granite City, that was a huge success what they did last year. They're doing it again this year.
Yeah.
So if it played in well for you last year, I'm sure it will play well this year.
I think it will. I mean? You try to keep your expectations kind of,
in check.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
you've been on our show now, and Borderline was on our show last week, and
saw what
they
happened
sold
there.
out.
Sold out their show.
Sold out, and they've added a second show. So,
and we take complete credit for that. It has nothing to do with Borderline, the band, and how good those guys are, and what a great cause it is. It has mainly to do with us.
We always get into social media talk with those guys because it's a difficult thing to figure out exactly how that works. I mean, you put one post out there and it gets a ton of attention. The next one you put out gets nothing.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what the post is.
Right.
It just seems like the timing that it hits, and they were saying that post that they had went further than anything they'd ever seen.
118,000 views.
That's
like
great.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that big.
Right, and we're all sitting here going, how do you do that? We need to do this with every band every week,
we discussed it for quite a while, the anomaly of what was the time? Okay, what else did you do? Because if we can figure this out, every band could make this happen.
Black magic.
There is a science to it, they say. They, meaning the social media experts, on how much don't post too often. You don't want to post more than once a day, and I think you might not even want to post every day, or I don't know. And it's different for Instagram, this and that. Obviously, I'm not the guy to ask.
And there's different times and days. If you do it at a certain time, everyone's going to see it Sunday when they wake up, I've read all this stuff, but it's like, what were they saying? Like one day, the post before that got a couple thousand or whatever, and then all of a sudden 118 or something like that.
You can pay money to add, for the ad thing, and then there's all this data analysis to it on when Facebook will make it appear in your news feed, as a sponsored ad. I mean, there's some work to it, but again,
a lot of variables.
Yeah,
and
I'm just a little too old to want to mess with it. I hate to say that. I probably should admit that. But I just want to show up and play music to people, but I want somebody else to do all the work to get them there.
So I was trying to talk my daughter into, she's 14, and I'm like, she's a whiz kid, and I'm like, hey, why don't you take over for the festival that we throw? Because I don't like to go. There's a lot of Facebook, and it's a great promotional tool. It is. You can get to a lot of people, but I don't necessarily want to do. Why don't you take over? And she's 14, so she's like, I'm not a Facebook. I do TikTok, and
right. It's considered old now.
But the people that I'm trying to reach are probably my age, so they're probably all on Facebook.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Can't you just learn it from Dad? Just come on. She's like, that's old people stuff. I'm like, I know, I'm old. You're not telling me something I don't know here.
Back in the 90s, you would stand outside a big show that come into town in the rain.
I still do that sometimes.
And hand out flyers.
For your show.
So in comparison, a lot warmer. Sitting there, putting something on Facebook.
I learned something about that trick this year that I don't know why I never thought of it before. Because, if you spend money, if you're going to take that approach, if you have a festival, so you're going to go to another festival and hand out flyers to these people or whatever. If you hand people a flyer, most people just, whatever.
Yep.
And you hope they don't throw it on the ground because then you got to pick it up. But we had, I guess, 2 years ago, whatever, my friend ordered a whole bunch of little patches that said, Family Fest on them, and a bunch of stickers. Well, what she didn't realize is she wasn't paying attention, and it was on a slow boat from China. It didn't make it in time for the festival. Okay. We got them dirt cheap, like a penny a piece or something. But they showed up like 3 months late. So last year, instead of giving people flyers, we would hand them patches and stickers, and people loved it, and they shoved them in their pocket, and now when they wake up sober the next morning, what in the world is this? Yeah. Right. And they can Google,
we did that back in the day where instead of a full page flyer, we divided it into 4 flyers and then cut them all out to save money.
Right. Yeah,
and those usually went in people's pockets too. Absolutely. Really easy, one fold, stick it in their pocket. Of course, went in the washing machine after that too. So,
with all the guitar picks.
But one of the biggest things that helped us was we'd flyer the bar we were going to play in a month in advance.
Yeah.
Because the people coming to the bar are the people that you're promoting to, so make sure they all show up that night.
Yeah.
And it kind of helped because they were like, yes, we seen your flyer, and so, we made sure and came this week,
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, the Facebook is one that it's, if people who are into it, man, I'm not being disparaging about it. Right. It's great. It's just not everybody's thing. And I'm one of those people, I log on and log off as fast as I can. It is a great way to contact people and such. But yeah, I'm not trying to down it, but it is hard to understand. And like I say, we talked to Borderline about it for 20 minutes, and I still was scratching my head. Algorithms, that's a good name for a band, man. Yeah.
Well, algorithms, right. And this is why we do cottonmouth.org, where we list all the shows each week where people are playing. It's one page. It's real easy to scroll up and down, and no pictures, none of that to slow things down, just links with names and venues like the Sea Shanty Sing-Along, which is underway right now at Morrison's Irish Pub at 6. It started. Jason Nelson going to get underway at Fast Eddie's in Alton at 7, going to 11. Open mic at the Raging Cajun later. Arena Rock Show going on at the Wild E Theater in Edwardsville. I just got to say, we've all been in like hair band covers. You guys did that, right? So this is the way to do it, though. Just call it an Arena Rock Show, right? And do it at the Wild E Theater, which is the same thing you can probably see someone doing at the Pump House this weekend, right? Yeah. But you're playing the Wild E.
But when you call it an Arena Rock Show, I really just want to get like a Z28 and go burn a doobie. like we did at the Checker Dome back in the day.
We found out last time you guys were on that what makes you stand out a bit as a country band is that you incorporate some of that old 80s rock into your show. Yeah. In other words, you'll flip a guitar around, you'll stick picks on each other's heads, and kind of that whole 80s, only country.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, it's we certainly are not a standstill band. But that's just it's kind of cool how that started happening. When I got in the band, it would be 4 years ago this May. Shawn could say he's been kind of quiet, but that probably wasn't happening as much.
No, whenever you joined a band, we kind of just everybody's enthusiasm raised to the next level, and then just our overall engagement with each other. The crowd reacted to what we were doing, and then we get Kevin in the band, and good Lord, went to the next level. Went to the next level.
I could tell you how all that would start too, Dennis. As far as the. I don't want to say choreography. Choreography makes it sound like we sat down or we had a rehearsal. We practiced leg kicks and all this kind of stuff.
So we're going to all do a hair move right as the crescendo begins.
But here's what would happen. I would, while he was doing a guitar solo or something like that, and even right before Kevin came in, because he came in about 3-4 months after me, and of course it's been the same lineup now for almost 4 years. But when somebody was playing a guitar solo or Xavier was playing the fiddle or something like that, I would just kind of ham it up because obviously I'm not singing at that time, so I'd step back and I'd blow in their ear, or put a pick on their chest or something, weird stuff. And then those antics started becoming a regular part of the show.
Yeah, right.
and leg kicks and all these kinds of things. And when he got it in, he was just so animated because he has always been a rock guitar player. Mm-hmm. but he brought that element into the music. Anyway, so then what started happening is we would see the crowd react to a certain movement, or the way like the bass player and I would move our guitars and stuff, and we started just making that. Hey, we're going to do that tomorrow night. Hey, we're going to do that next weekend, and now it has become organic, because that's a popular name now, isn't it? Organic. Everything's organic. Organic choreography, meaning that it just happened naturally, and it stuck, and it fits us, and it works. So yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, and your following gets more engaged.
Yeah,
to your show, it becomes more personal for them because they, it's something that they want to be a part of, and they kind of expect those things the next time they come out. They want to see that same movement, or they might do it out while they're dancing.
Right.
They want to feel the energy, man.
That's right.
And it's hard to look at a band who's having a good time on stage and not smile.
Right.
Even if you don't necessarily like the music, it's not like right in your creamy center or whatever.
Right.
If a band's having a good time and they're all just jamming, it's hard to not smile and go,
Absolutely.
wow, they're
Right.
enjoying this,
Yeah.
man.
I think that's what Jeremy was saying was different from the singer he replaced. He's more animated than the previous singer. Both good singers,
Absolutely.
but he was more animated,
I didn't
more
know
into
Shane
the.
well, but he was I'm assuming out there over in Missouri, a very good singer. I don't know what's happened to him, but yeah, when they asked me to join the band, because he had already put in that he was leaving, I thought I better go check this band out. And it was Xavier who had originally asked me, and I remember thinking, well, I'm a little bit more animated. That's where I'm going to be different, and not sure how it was going to fit into the band, but it was kind of like the rest of them were like, well, we're just going to be that way too. I don't know. Energy is contagious.
It is.
And that's what happened in our band. Kevin, of course, already had that. I think that's why it was a great fit.
Yeah.
So you guys are playing February 17th and 18th for the Mardi Gras party down at Doits Village Inn in Pontoon Beach, and you were hamming it up earlier. Tyler hamming down there tonight
That is right.
from
yeah,
7 to 11 at Doits Village Inn.
The Georgia boys from old Georgia, yeah.
All right. Also going on tonight, Frankie and the House Shakers. They're at Patrick's from 6 to 9. Steve Klein out at Prairie Inn in Dorsey from 6 to 9. You guys play out there, haven't you?
It's a fun place right there.
Fun place.
Is that the trio that plays there more, or is it a full band?
No,
Full
actually, the trio's never played there.
Right.
And it's always been full band stuff there, and it's.
He's giving me the look like, why not? Why not?
I mean, I would
it,
love
man,
to.
book it.
I would love to go out. I mean, I'm sure we probably will at some point in time, but that's a really fun place. If you've never been out there, and first of all, the food's fantastic as well.
Very.
But that's a group that everybody from town comes in. They get in their side by sides or their golf carts. They come up and. It's an early show. It's usually 2 to 6, and then you can be in and out. 3-7, yeah, and you can be in and out early, and then go do something else the rest of the night. But it's a fun place.
By the way, I played solo there for the first time about 3 weeks ago on a Monday night. They have Monday night music.
Yeah.
Who does that?
Yeah.
Well, they do, and it's great. And my son was with me, and we had a great crowd. But I noticed, and of course it was cold, so I was inside with the garage doors closed. But they are expanding. When we were there last September was our last show there, maybe. We usually do 2 a year there. Mm-hmm. They had a kind of a portable outdoor trailer for restrooms, which were nice. They're building a permanent building, and they're expanding. The stage was gone, nice. And they're moving it back. And I thought I might have told you guys this. I'm sorry, but if you haven't been out to the Prairie Inn in a while, you'll see they're going to have everything ready for the spring. And the owner, I believe Ron maybe was giving me the tour, and they're pushing all that back and paving it, and it's going to be a much larger area. So very cool place.
Yeah,
I can't believe he didn't tell you till just now.
Yeah,
sorry guys.
I forgot to ask.
Well, I wouldn't take that from you, man.
That's another one of those.
I'm gonna egg on
the
a band
only
fight
bar
right here.
in that little part of town. It's right on the corner.
Right.
Yeah.
It's out in the middle of nowhere,
It's a thing to
and
do.
everybody comes out there. It's
It's
So you
back
guys-
to the
Great
business
place.
model we spoke of earlier.
Right,
If you own the only bar in town, you're gonna win, man.
You guys had a almost steady gig down in Belleville out in Silver Creek for a while on Thursday nights, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of Belleville, we talk about it every week now because of this Experience Live Music Row they got going on, where all the venues have combined together, and they have a sponsor for it as well, and they're staggering their band, so it's like an experience to go down there. I guess I haven't been down to check it out, but
We talk about it
that's
every
pretty
week.
cool.
Though.
Have you played down there solo? Because I see a lot of the guys that are doing it are the solo guys.
The venues aren't quite large enough to have big bands. I will say Copper Fire has has full-size bands like Beowulf's going to be there, I think, coming up. We just some of us were there. Was it Saturday before last? We popped in and saw Ship of Fools, I believe was the band, with Craig Reno. And the week before that, I was there for a birthday party, and it was my first time at Copperfire, and I heard the Rollins brothers. Bobby's a good friend of mine, and Jimmy, and Jalen on drums. So, and I sat in with them a couple songs. Wasn't planned, but Copperfire is probably the only one of them on Music Row that can have bigger bands.
And the venue, I think, has the
venue on Main.
The venue on Main, yeah, that's part of it too. So they have bands in there, yeah.
But
I've been in there.
A lot of songwriters do that venue.
Yes.
Not necessarily full bands. You know, it's Nashville songwriters, usually ticketed events that they're doing at the venue on Main. Yeah.
So I played at Benny's, and then I want to say the trio is going to be. We've got 3 shows in the starting in August at Copperfire.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, we got some friends down there tonight. Mr. Nate Sickmeyer with his Bearded Bandits. He's doing the Copperfire from 6 to 9. Darian Rowe doing 6 to 9 at Benny's.
Wow.
And Sarah Springman Schumaki, 6 to 9 at 7.
Schumaki.
Right.
I know her.
All been on the show, and it's cool to see people from this area now venturing down there to Belleville and checking out what's going on.
Well, it's really good to see that in Belleville, too, because going back to my early days with the whole Bronx Zoo thing, that was our stomping ground. And Belleville was, it had its events, and it had maybe 1 or 2 places that had quality-sized events, but it had little sporadic, little hole-in-the-wall bars that would have all the bands that, Belleville was famous for.
Fragile Porcelain Mice.
Well, Fragile Porcelain Mice,
The singer was my son's school teacher. So
Oh, no.
I can't believe he's a school teacher.
He was on our show, and he said he's not allowed to teach. He's only allowed to program kids to take tests. He would love to teach, but he's not allowed.
Scott Randall. Yeah.
Isn't I think one of those guys, wasn't he that handling that school for the kids?
School of Rock or something?
It has a different name. I can't remember the name of it, but we were going to do a show at the Lincoln Theater there, and one of the guys involved with it, I think it was in Fragile Porcelain Mice. But it's good to see that in Main Street in Belleville, because I think Belleville is, had its, its obstacles, over the last 15 years or so. But it's good to see it coming back into a certain area. Love that.
Now, we kind of hear the same thing about Silver Creek that we hear about Doits. You've got an engaged crowd there. They're not talking over drinks in between songs. They're engaged in the show.
Yeah.
And so what do you think about Silver Creek? You guys having a good time down there?
Shawn?
This will be, I think, our third year of doing our Thursday night gig down there. The last 2 years we did 2 Thursdays a month, and then this year we're doing 1 Thursday a month.
The third Thursday.
The third Thursday, yeah, that's right.
It looks like you're down there the 16th.
16th, the night before Doits, actually.
3 nights in a row.
And then the 16th of March as well.
Yes, it's the third Thursday of every month.
I see.
And then, what was I going to say? But so we're doing that as opposed to doing 2 last year, just to kind of pull back a little bit, not to oversaturate ourselves. Jack Daniels sponsors that, so we thank them for paying us to be there.
Yeah.
And but Shannon and her crew, Shannon Stelling and her crew there at Silver Creek, they do a great job, and they support live music. A lot of great bands play there.
We got Sinatra in town Friday night. What do you think about that?
Last call.
Mr. Kevin Frakes going to do And Company, which is Miles Brenton, ShayVonda Mays, Gabe Levi, Devin Sadler, and Becca Peach. And they're doing Sinatra Last Call. They're doing 7:30 show on Friday, a 2 o'clock show on Sunday. I believe Saturday's a 7 o'clock show. We've got the open mic going on, Trinity's Ways open mic at Maevas Coffee House, 48. We talked about that recently on a show. And Darry Garcia's Lonesome Blues, 8:30 to 11:30 at the Conservatory in Alton on Friday night. Mr. Ed Belling's coming to town to play the lodge at Lovejoy at 7 o'clock on Friday night as well. So that's pretty cool. We always do. Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead.
Ed's with Pick and Lickin', is he not?
Yeah, I think so.
He's a good bluegrass player. Plays that stand-up bass. I think he was at Doits Sunday, if I remember right.
Nice.
Yeah. Also going on Friday night, pianos at Raging Cajun, the Truckers at Fast Eddie's, which you guys played festivities quite a bit. I haven't seen you down there recently, though.
Yeah, we haven't. We're not there.
I know
this
Jeremy.
year.
Jeremy was playing with which band were you playing down there? Was that?
Well, it was a duo. I played with several people.
Oh, wait, Whiskey Dixon.
Oh,
you were
Shawn,
playing
yeah.
down there. That's
Well, they may have been playing there
okay.
recently, but I haven't.
That's
played.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay,
it's been a while.
Okay.
I think they're playing there here and there.
We got Lady Luck out at Baker's and Hale on Friday, the Trag Band at the VFW for their Valentine's thing, and Dustin Coleman out at Locke's Brick House from 7 to 10 in Bethalto. Have you played Locke's Brick House?
I have.
I
a
thought
couple
so.
times, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice place.
Leadfoot doing the Refinery Bar in Wood River, Flipside at the Moose in Wood River. Ruby Lee coming to town to Wigglers at Holiday Shores in Edwardsville. Usually see her in the summer sometime in Grafton. She comes up from Nashville. Grand Arson doing the Back Bar, 9 p.m. Scott Marlin doing Big Daddies, 6 to 9. That's the slot right there, Jeremy, 6 to 9. Big Daddy there.
6 to 9, dude.
That's a steady for you. I've seen you there quite a bit. Sundays is 4 to 7, I
The
think.
trio has got a couple of Sunday afternoons there in the fall. So right across from the courthouse, if you can pay your fine and go to trial and come right over and drink a beer and get some chicken wings.
Right on. Lanny and Julie at the Moose in Edwardsville on Friday. Robert Perry doing the Stagger In again, 5 to 8. Mike Sonderregger at the Chop House, 1818 Chop House in Edwardsville.
He's good.
Doug Morris is going to do something a little bit different for a comedian at the Reese's Brewery. They're doing this thing called Singles and Stand Up for Strays, and it benefits the Metro East Humane Society. So some type of speed dating mixed with comedians.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Johnny Rampage.
We need Xavier here. That's his kind of thing right there.
Yeah.
It sounds like an interesting idea, but usually comedians are making jokes about what's happening.
Right. Well, he's the host, so I don't know how that works.
Yeah, this is true.
So, also going on Friday night, Salmon Creek at the Cabin at Judy Creek, 7 to 11.
Very good band.
Cherry at the Legion, 7 to 10 in Glen Carbon. And Down and Dirty down at Patrick's at 8:30 in Granite City. Rock Bottom down at Doits, Friday and Saturday. And let's see, Town Criers up in Warden, which we talked about Mardi Gras a little bit before the show. And here's a venue I don't recognize from last year, the Rustic in Warden. Town Criers going to be there 7 to 10.
Town is growing.
Friday night, yeah.
This ain't no one-bar town, man. Anymore.
So there you go. And you guys on Saturday night doing a fundraiser, right, down in Aviston?
Yeah.
Yeah, this Saturday, doors are at 5:30. The shows, then there's food. There's food as well, but it's the citizens of Aviston is putting this on, and it's their one fundraiser for the year that helps them raise money for the park and things around the city that just overall community event.
Okay.
And as of last week, or middle of this week, I guess it was, there was just under 500 tickets sold. So that's going to be a great, great event for
We
for
take the
Aviston.
stage at 8:30, I believe.
8:30, we're on 8:30 to 12:30, and tickets are available at the door. Or you can go online on our Facebook page and click the link and follow your way through there. But I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
That'll be a great night.
Yeah, till 12:30. I don't usually play till after midnight. I turn into a bottle of Jack Daniels. It's really ugly. I'm kidding. But yeah, we're there 8:30 to 12:30 for the citizens of Aviston.
Citizens of
In
Aviston.
Clinton County, if you're out that way.
We're excited to have a band coming to town that the last time they were here, they hurdled Robert Wadlow. They jumped the full length of Robert Wadlow on stage.
You can only be talking about super fun, rocket ship.
That's right.
What? Does this really happen?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, there's a video of it, actually.
I would have to see this.
I would have to see this.
It's on
'Cause if
cottonmouth.org,
you
I
don't make
believe.
it, there's a certain part of the anatomy that's going to be very sore.
And even if you make it, you could land on the cane.
Well,
And still.
it's even worse.
So,
We'll try that at Doits.
So yeah, super fun rocket ship with Bellevue and 33 on the Needle at the Conservatory on Saturday night right here in town.
I haven't been there. I've always seen it. It seems like a neat place, the Conservatory.
Yeah, it is. It's an amazing place, and
we love it for the original.
Right.
It's got the original music, and the art is all done by Mike Snyder, a guy who just an amazing artist. Works in huge pieces, you know.
Is it mostly solo artists doing their original stuff?
It's not a lot. I mean, they do a lot of bands.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went down to they have an open mic every Wednesday, and I went down to it last Wednesday, and there was a handful of bands and a handful of solo people, even at the open mic night. They supply the back line, so you can just kind of show up and jam. And like I say, usually open mic night, you think more acoustics, but even on their open mic night, because they supply the drums and the bass and everything, bands were showing up and playing. And
if I remember correctly, you guys started out as an original band.
Yes,
right?
The original lineup was nothing but original.
Right.
Yeah, Shawn can tell you more about that.
And I think you mentioned that you play like 2 or 3 times a year.
I think Shawn said that. Yeah.
Yeah, back in the early days of Shotgun Creek, they would book 2 or 3 shows a year, like you said, and do like 45-minute show as an opening slot somewhere, and just play all original music.
Now, see, that's why I bring this up, because that's what the Conservatory is, and you guys know how hard it is to find a gig for an original band.
Yeah.
We used to have to rent places in order to play original music, right?
Yeah.
And this Conservatory down here, these guys used to throw house parties. Well, they've grown up and bought their own bar now, and the house party. Pretty cool, huh?
They would throw house parties, but it was different than when we would have house parties. It was a younger generation. They did it different. We wouldn't let anyone know until the day of the party, hoping it wouldn't get busted. Right. And they got ads in the paper. They had us talking about it. It's at 403 South Street. Like literally, we would be telling everybody. They had names for it. It was like the Foxhole and Metal Gears, and they would name their houses and have these parties that were literally, they were writing about it in the local paper.
Yeah.
And we're talking about it on the radio, and I don't know how it went on as long as it did.
So yeah, we're super stoked to have the Conservatory. I mean, that's a place where an original band can get with a couple of other original bands and do a showcase, and it's a good time. Great time.
I need to get up there and check that out. Maybe my wife will let me out of the house one night when we're not playing.
Stop on your way. You're going to pass it on the way out of here.
That's true.
Just stop in and have a drink.
They got music tonight?
What is tonight?
Darry Garcias Lonesome Blues. Yeah, it starts at 8:30 tonight.
If you do happen to stop in for a drink, make sure you walk upstairs. Because the art upstairs,
really,
it's just like a little area upstairs right by the main bar. But it's all the art on all the walls is done by one local guy. That's again just really good stuff.
It's good to see these kinds of things coming back around because for so long it hasn't really existed, and I think especially some of the youth and even people our age they're kind of sick of the normal just cookie cutter place to be. They want to be someplace that's kind of eclectic or just a little different than normal, or they just like those small hole in the wall places, and I think that's why Doits does so well.
There, it's the crowd. It's the energy that when you walk in that place, everybody's here to have a good time. And you feel that when you walk in a place.
Kudos though to the Riverbend Talent Show guys, because I would have never heard of the Conservatory and also Lovejoy. I would have not heard these places if not listening to your show. So.
Wow.
And kudos to the bands who get out there and promote themselves, because that's how we find out about all the venues. And we've talked about this before. If you're a band looking for gigs, this is where Cottonmouth.org helps, because you go there, there's a list of venues, and you can see who's playing there and kind of get an idea, and that's where I was kind of going next. It's cool to have the original thing. Well, we also have the country thing. We got the bluegrass thing. We got the rock thing. You just look at these venues and you're like, man, what do I feel like tonight? Exactly. I'm not really feeling like getting my head rocked off. I think I'm going to go check out a solo acoustic artist. Right. Well, I should go check out
the Bikini Bottom Rave.
Saturday, 2 to 6 at Sparky's.
Oh, I was thinking the Bikini Bottom Rave.
Oh, yeah.
Friday night.
You're going back to the Mike Judy Presents.
Yeah, I just like the name.
Yeah.
Sounds like it'd be a good time.
That's a Red Flag show. Josh Grashley playing at Red Flag on Sunday night with Divine March. So, yeah. Also going on Saturday, Jake Weber and the Lonesome Drifters out at Baker's and Hale and Godfrey. We mentioned food earlier, and this is usually where Pigpen goes nuts when I bring up Baker's and Hale.
Food, I've never been there.
Well, that's a great place that we would love to play sometime in the future. If anybody would ever like to get a hold of Shotgun Creek for us to play there, we would be interested in playing there.
And you get farmed table food while you're there.
Well, we've passed it a few times. I think one time we were playing the Greenfield. Last summer we played the Greenfield Homecoming, and I think we had to drive by there. Yeah. And Kevin and I had carpooled. And on the way back, I pointed it out to him. I said, "That's Baker's in Hell if you've ever heard of it."
I remember that.
I see Graham Pagano plays there all the time.
Yep.
I know Graham real well.
We don't like him.
By the way, Graham's grandson Sam is now the lead singer for Electric Baby Powder.
Oh, check that
out! Wow, look at that.
Sam and Jameson together.
There you go.
It's quite a combination.
I'd say.
Yeah.
They're still one of the greatest band
They're
names
going places.
you
Usually
ever came up
night,
with.
But that's about
He tells us that all the time as well.
Yeah. He hasn't taken your job yet, Shawn.
He's tried, and he's done a great job. And I love Jameson to death. But you know what? He's starting to figure out, as he's got his high school diploma, he's got the education going now. He knows to leave shows before we finish because he no longer, when he leaves, he doesn't have to help tear down the drums.
He's figured it out.
So bless his heart. But no, he's great, and
he's paying attention.
Hey, anytime he's there, he always can play, and he knows that, and we have so much fun. And there's just not a lot of kids. And I'll get on my little soapbox here, but there's not a lot of kids his age, other than the other kids in Electric Baby Powder, that do what it is that we do with live music. So when Jameson's there, he's always welcome to play because there's not many like him, and it's just going to keep his interest in playing live music because, sooner or later, we're the guys that we're not going to be playing very much anymore, and there's not a lot of young kids like Jameson and Electric Baby Powder that are following up in our footsteps. Right. Doing live music,
so now that he's grown up a little, Jeremy, is he still showing up at your solo gigs and helping out, or is he asking for money now?
No. So I made Jameson a deal. I said because he was bringing
$20 a show,
a snare. He started wanting to kind of add to his drum set. It was just me on acoustic guitar, and I'm like, okay, well, he soon figured out it was more to play. So now he's just sticking to the cajon only.
Yeah.
And he's like, it sounds good. I'm like, it sounds fine. He's like, it's less to tear down. I'm like, bingo, you're learning. But the thing is, he just got a job at Schnucks, so and he really likes it. But because he's going to college, so we'll see how that's just been 2 weeks now. We'll see how his playing out with me for solo shows, how that affects that. I'm sure it will some.
Well, you were only giving him candy last time.
Shirley Temples and
that's a step up from the Attaboys
and kisses from the old ladies. And he was fine with that for a while. They're all graduated now, so I can't, bribe them to play, for the same things I could do.
We got Walk On down at the Pump House on Saturday at 9 o'clock. Tanglefoot up at Uncle Al's in Jerseyville from 8 to 11. Terry Beck at the Grafton Winery from 3 to 7. Strangers Duo doing the 6 to 9 shift, and Big Daddy's in Edwardsville. And Scott Marlin doing 7 to 10 at Lyle's Tavern in Maryville. And I'm seeing a lot more music at Lyle's Tavern than I used to. So that one's picking up.
It's right down the street from my house.
Yeah?
Yep.
Been in there? What's that like?
Oh, yeah. They have great walleye on Fridays, by the way. But they really do. Lyle's is it's just kind of an old school tavern. I didn't know they had music till recently. Scott Marlin's a good friend of mine, so Scott's son Connor, they just have a new thing they started called D's Notes.
Yes.
Yeah, good
and
name.
Connor and Jameson went to high school together.
See, now, today I was thinking, you get Scott Marlin, Jeremy Drake, Jameson Drake, and Scott's son.
Yeah.
You call it the Marlin Drakes or something.
The Blue Drake, the Blue Duck. We've talked about all kinds of things. Scott is a great guy. He's playing music full time now.
He's amazing.
He can sing and do
Silver
the Keishi
Marlin or
classics
Blue Creek,
like anybody I've ever heard. I don't think anybody's doing the Keishi, wailing them Keishi classic songs like Scott. He just especially.
He's the only guy I've ever seen do solo acoustic Rush.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Right.
He does. It's like and try to do it just like the album. He doesn't try
I
to
saw.
make it,
You never saw Bubbles do it?
Oh, yeah, I seen Bubbles do it.
Okay, well,
But I had to go to Canada for that.
But yeah, Scott's playing everywhere, and I've seen that he's been playing at Lyle's.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, it's cool.
Sweet Bottom Band at Cabin at Judy Creek
Right.
from 7 to 11. Oh, I missed Mike Sonderegger at the Father McGivney School fundraiser in Glen Carbon on Saturday. Flip side at Hoochin 16.
Father, forgive me. What?
Yeah.
Father, forgive me. School fundraiser. It sounds right.
Flip side at Hoochin 16s in Granite. Beowulf at Patrick's in Granite on Saturday. Dueling Pianos and Comedy Showcase with Jay Wash and Jeremy, what did you say? Ginnon. From 8 to 11 at Tegan's Pub in Granite City. We see Jay Wash down here at Raging Cajun quite a bit.
Jeremy Ginnon, I know who that is.
Okay.
He used to work at the Dueling Pianos on the Landing as a bodyguard, and he's just kind of, I didn't know he played piano. We used to go to church together way back in the day. Jeremy is a big guy and is one hell of a comedian.
Okay.
And so he's doing a little bit of everything. So
that sounds like a good time.
As soon as I heard his name, I was like, okay. I didn't know he was branching out a little bit. But
So you
very
think
talented
like
guy.
during a break he went over and tapped on a piano player's shoulder and said, "Hey, can you watch the door? I'm going to sit down and jam a little bit."
Well, yeah, maybe, I don't know. It's a small world because Mike Sonder, I can't ever say.
Sonderegger.
Yeah, that's it.
We have the same problem.
Right. He was one of the guys that played down there at the Dueling Pianos. Was it whatever? It was
I
Big
I
Daddy
picture
or
it more like a Disney thing.
Big Bang.
Where
Big Bang, yes. That
I
was
picture it more like a Disney movie where Jeremy Ginnin or whatever his name is there looked at the piano player and they both said at the same time, "I wish I had your job," and you know they both had to learn a lesson before they could switch back or something. I don't know.
Rock Bottom back on Saturday night down at Doits Village Inn where Shotgun Creek will be doing the Mardi Gras party February 17th and 18th. So,
Oh, yeah.
And out there at Prairie Inn where they bring their golf carts, it's Hunter Sharp from 5 to 9. You mentioned a man by the name of Graham Pagano. Mm-hmm. He's playing the Valen Wines Day Dinner from
Hello,
5
Graham.
to 8 at Wild Pickens in Chesterfield. That's where you have Valen wine.
Valen Wine.
Yeah, at a winery.
Oh yeah, Saint Valentine's, the patron saint of drunkards.
You're on it tonight.
I'm familiar with his work.
You gonna
Father,
be
forgive me again.
You gonna be helping with the cleanup on Sunday, Pigpen? The Trinity's Way Piasal Park litter cleanup from 10 until noon.
That sounds like a place I would probably be if my wife shakes me out of bed at 10 a.m. and she's heading down. I'm sure my wife will be there, and if she can wake me up, depending on how my Friday night goes. No, that is always a good thing, and they clean up all the parks around here. Just volunteers go out and pick up trash, and
You can check them out at the open mic Friday night, Trinity's Way.
Yeah.
Here's one, a beer release party. These are popular these days at Reese's on Sunday. The beer, Solar, Brainiac.
All right.
Interesting.
Spencer McDowell playing from 12 to 4. So, yeah.
There you go.
And then I
Solar
wanted to
Brainiac.
mention Jay Christopher out at the Canton Inn on Sunday at 6:30, and as we mentioned, the original band, Josh Grassley,
March.
the Divine March, with Who Die? Is that Who Die?
Who die?
And Buried in Arms and Chain Link will be
you
at
go.
Red Flag on Sunday.
Nice.
So there you
lineup
go.
there.
Christopher is a songwriting maniac.
He
that
is.
guy writes and writes and writes, and I was telling you about him, and just and he makes money on his songs too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Working with Samantha Grimes quite a bit. We've
Yeah,
had
I've
her
seen
on.
I've seen that. Okay.
Outstanding talent.
Yeah, Christopher has done it his whole life though. Him and I, he's kind of
Never had
That's it. tell
a
ya.
1040. Never had. There's no greater.
When he
like,
says it, I just want to smack him.
Yeah. He's all braggadocious about it, and I would be too if it was me.
Well, I met him at the Village, and he told me, I'll never forget the night he told me all that. He says, I've never worked a real job one day in my life. And I was like,
Yeah.
can I, we're not worthy. I was like,
I want to be one of your disciples.
and he owns real estate and everything. He's got it going on, but he's a good dude.
We're talking to Shotgun Creek, thanks to Halpin Music Company and Mr. Matt Van Voorhis. And one thing that's unique about Shotgun Creek is you guys played to a click track, if I remember correctly.
We do.
What?
Yeah.
We do.
That would
actually.
explain
Our
why you're
secret
so good.
Our secret is out. Yeah.
I thought you slept with a metronome on.
I can hear it right now, actually.
So do you use in-ear monitors?
We all use in-ear monitors.
That makes it easier for the click track.
I mean, that was one of the things that with each of the guys joining the band, that we told them we played with a click track every night to every song, the whole song. And, Kevin was less familiar with the in-ear monitors, but he jumped on it right away. And it's just, we don't have Jeremy turn around telling me we're going too fast or we're going too slow. And it's just, which he never does it anyway, right?
Come on, pick up the pace, man.
Never.
It's harder when you're.
But it's
harder
a
when
great.
you grew up a drummer too.
It's a
but he doesn't have
great
that.
tool to have, and I don't know of a lot of bands that are doing it.
I don't think so.
Especially with all the guys with their ear mixes, but it's been fantastic for us, and it's actually taken us, I think, from whatever level we were to whatever level we're at right now, simply because it's consistency, and we trust to click.
Yeah.
You brought up Fragile Porcelain Mice earlier. They back in the 90s, I would go to hang out at their space in Belleville there, and their drummer had a metronome or whatever, a click track that he would listen to. Just to he wouldn't do it through the whole song, but back then he'd get tuned into it, kind of like the old singers, a beat.
Yeah.
He'd do it just long enough to get it, and then hit start, and and I'm like, he was the first person I saw working with a click track in that manner back in those days.
I mean, what a wonderful technology, advancement that has affected music these days.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm old school, so I had monitors and drummers that just that was their thing. So their timing was impeccable. But moving forward, after many experiences in other bands. Now playing with a click track, I would never want to play without it. Again, just because it makes a lot of things so much easier. The come-ins or the outros of songs, anything. It just really keeps the show consistent. And even if I didn't have in-ear monitors, I could probably hear Shawn's click track out of his in-ears over music.
There literally is an 11. There literally is an 11.
We'll be done. I'll pull out. We'll pull out my in-ears. And I walk up to the drums, and he'll be, and you'll hear a. And be like, that's coming from your ears. And we joke with him all the time.
We have a grandfather clock in here.
Now
I can hear it now.
I
can hear it now.
I brought up last time, you guys all do vocals, and Shawn's like, no, I kind of do them in the monitor. And you said you probably alert everybody to when the cops come in.
Among other things, yes.
Among other things.
He particularly lets me know the scenery of the room. And if I am forgetting to make a certain announcement, or hey, we're getting ready to go to break, and remind people to buy merch,
That's nice.
or mention the Facebook page.
I always forget that. Your head's all spinning from the song you just did. You just don't think about it.
Oh my gosh, it's funny.
Did you see the?
Hey guys, the cops just walked in the back, just so you know.
Did you know these guys? You should have, because we did the show last time. But these guys were in the Missouri State Pen with Winona Judd.
True story, yeah.
True story.
Shawn
Well,
was.
1/3 of us here tonight
Kevin
was.
and I were
Yeah.
not.
You're right. Yeah.
And
that's
Johnny
before I
and
joined.
Johnny
Aaron
Rampage
were
was
as well.
Yeah.
They played a show in the Missouri State Pen.
Wow.
I guess Winona Judd was playing that night.
She closed the show, and we opened the show. It was a great experience. I would love to do something again like that, but what a learning experience to look out, and there's 10,000 people at 3:00 in the afternoon for us.
And nowhere better to be.
And it's super
Can't
creepy.
go anywhere.
That
Captive audience is the best, man.
that place, if you've never been there, and I try to keep getting my family to go back on a little weekend trip, but we're still playing. but they'll keep us.
I can get my family to go back on a weekend trip.
Came out wrong.
Yes.
Hey, so this is the holding cell, kids.
Yes.
Click, run.
Yes. But it's a super cool place. It is that if you haven't taken the tour of the place, I recommend it highly.
Lock 'em.
Again, yes.
Another cool thing you guys got to do was be Brandon Seals' band, right?
Brady Seals. Yeah.
Brady Seals.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, can't read my own writing. From Little Texas.
Yep. Last
And
summer.
how'd that go? We haven't talked to you guys since then.
Well, Shawn set that thing up. He got in touch with Brady. I'm not sure how that came about. He knows so many people, but it was great.
It was an evening on West 5th and St. Jacob. I will say that we were just like, let's reach out and see what we can come up with and create a party and create an event. So I'm a huge Little Texas fan, but I'm also a huge Brady Seals solo stuff also. And to make a long story short, we reached out to him on social media, and he replied. And this was on a Friday night. And essentially, by Tuesday, Wednesday of the next week, we had communications going. The ball was rolling, and we ended up doing one event with him.
Yeah,
and it was fantastic. I mean, we. For one night, we were Little Texas.
Right. And you guys are big fans, right?
And big fans. And, and Kevin and I talked about it because Kevin had a tough job of learning, all of those hits on, those are tremendous guitar in a short amount of time.
What about that funky stuff Aaron had to play?
Aaron wakes up funky
He
and gets
loves
funky.
it,
and gets out of the bless his heart, man. He's the best. But you know what? With Brady, and we've also played a couple times with Brian White.
Right, yeah.
Every weekend we go out and play other people's songs, and it's super fun. I wouldn't change it but to actually get to play songs with the guys that wrote it, or songs, that were number one on the radio, that, it's part of my history and society's history. God Bless Texas, My Love, and then you go into Brian White stuff. Not many people in the '90s got to do a duet with Shania Twain. He was one, so that's kind of a big deal.
I did.
And well, that was another situation. But that's just a cool thing to put on our resume, that we actually got to perform as the backing band with the guys that wrote or performed those songs.
Right.
Yeah.
That had to be surreal.
A great singer. The cool thing was about getting ready for that show, if I could say, Brady sent us the song list, and not necessarily the order yet, but we learned every song individually, and then we would get together and practice. But and he had some tough material for his solo stuff. There was a couple tough songs, but the story I wanted to tell was, it wasn't just Little Texas and his solo stuff. His family, the Seals family, is just so big. But I can't remember the first name of Seals and Croft. But we did Summer Breeze.
Okay.
And then, of course, his cousin Dan England. Of course, all these guys have passed away. We did I Really Want to See You Tonight, which Brady just re-released last year. And I didn't know this. This is what I learned. And this is Michael's cool story about that show last summer. Was or I guess it was the summer before last already, wasn't it? 2021? Holy
21,
cow.
yeah.
Wow. But so I get there, and keep in mind that we've never met Brady till the day of the show. And it's noon, and we're up on the stage setting up, and here he comes in. He just drove in from Nashville, and hey, how you doing? We've all met, online, but we've never met. And so we're going to rehearse. We get set up. He sets up his gear. We start rehearsing, and he starts telling us how he's going to do his show, and laying out that he's going to kind of storytell about this great family history he has of music legacy. And that kind of puts where things are going to be leading up to the Little Texas hits. And then he mentions says my Uncle Troy Seals, and I'm like, Troy Seals? Because we wondered why we were doing Little Texas stuff, and then we did the Eric Clapton song, I Got a Rock and Roll Heart, and I'm like, why are we doing this song? This doesn't seem to match these others. Well, his Uncle Troy wrote for Eric Clapton and wrote I Got a Rock and Roll Heart.
Man,
but here's the cool one. My favorite country song of all time is Seven Spanish Angels, that Ray Charles and Willie Nelson did. And he goes, yeah, he's just saying kind of off the cuff. He's like, my uncle, I'm going to tell some stories. And he wrote for Eric Clapton, and he wrote Seven Spanish Angels and all this. And I go, what? Stop. What did you say? And he goes, yeah, right? He goes, I said, you're kidding me. I didn't know your uncle did. The guy I was thinking that wrote it was, I can't think of his name right now. But anyway, and so I go, man, I wish we were doing that song. And so he starts singing it. He's on the piano. He starts singing it. And Kevin goes, that's like Jeremy's favorite country song. And he goes, well, let's do it tonight.
Nice.
So when we got to that point in the show, this is something that just one of my highlights of my life, is that it was just him on the piano and me on the acoustic guitar, and just him and I were singing, and then we got to the second verse, just like Willie and Ray would done it. He goes, "Jeremy, take that verse," and here I am, all of a sudden I'm leading with the guy that wrote the song, his nephew right here, the surviving member, and so that show was. Thank you for asking about that. It was such a cool show.
No problem. I wanted to get a little more information because we didn't quite get into it much last time. I do want to mention though, you guys have a single out, Old Brown Tequila, you recorded back in May of 2022. It was about to come out when we talked to you last time. Kevin Hamilton helped out with that. Rest in peace, Kevin.
Yeah.
We dearly miss him. And then you almost had another single, Indiana, right? What's the story there? Are we going to hear that soon?
Definitely. I'm going to turn this over to Kevin. Old Brown Tequila was released in 2021.
Okay.
And I wrote that one several years ago, brought it to the band. Kevin, I want him to tell the story on where his song Indiana came from, if he would.
So Indiana, real quick. So we did have it slotted to release last year, but we just ran into some things that kind of delayed the recording. So it's going to be released here very shortly, probably the end of March. We're just waiting on some steel guitar to be laid down, and then it's going to be ready, mixed and mastered. But that song really a mirror image story of something that happened in my life. We took a trip to Indiana to play for the Mellencamp family, which Shawn had set that up. Shawn is the master of setting up things that are uncanny. You just don't know how this guy comes out.
House?
He knows
We will.
He knows how to pull a show out of his what.
So it was it was John Mellencamp's sister's house, and it was the first trip that I took with the band, and it just when you're with the people that are all on the same page, and they always say surround yourself with like-minded people. And I had left music after being at it for so long. I took a 6-year break, and Shotgun Creek was the first band that I really kind of got back into. Really wasn't sure if I was going to continue with it. I had to reprogram myself to learn to play country music. It was a huge undertaking.
It's the fits, man. Fives, man.
Right. But taking that trip, it just made me realize that, this is where I'm supposed to be, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing, because music has been such a big part of my life. And I'm finally with people who feel that same way and think about it the same way. We're not excluding anything else from our lives. We all have family, we all have kids, and we all have jobs, but we all feel the same way about music. And enjoying the scenery. Indiana is beautiful, even though it's relatively flat. It's the typical Midwest love that you have for this area.
We'll call it better than Kansas.
Yeah. But so Indiana was my song, saying that professing my love for music in so many words. So
cool. So if you can't wait for Mardi Gras, you can check out. You can travel down to Aviston Saturday and check these guys out at the Citizens for Aviston fundraiser. That's a lot, yeah. 8:30, February 16th at the Silver Creek Saloon in Belleville. Then the Mardi Gras weekend down at Pontoon Beach on the 17th and 18th. You're at the Time Out in Troy on the 23rd. Bottoms Up in Jameson on the 25th. The 16th back at Silver Creek Saloon. Let's see, you're doing the Honky Tonk on March 24th. Here's an interesting one. Back at Doits on the 26th, but also doing Halloween down at Doits this year, right?
That's the trio, I think, a Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then all the fairs again. Madison County Fair in July. You're headed back to Kansas City. Guitars and Cadillacs in July. Riding for a Reason down in Steelville.
Great cause.
Yeah. Sweetwater Fest. So
Sweetwater
Mount Olive Homecoming. You guys doing
Mount
well?
Olive Homecoming was a great time.
Yeah. And you guys are playing Old Herald. What a cool venue that is now. That ought to be, by September, that ought to be a cool thing.
Actually, we're playing there in June while Horseradish Festival's going on.
Okay.
And, so that's going on Main Street. But cool story, the guy that owns Old Herald, Dennis Reiser, his kids played hockey with my kids. I used to be the president of the Collinsville Ice Hockey Club for a few years. So when he opened that. We've just been friends, and that's probably how I'm getting a gig there. But anyway, no. So then they just built Herald Square, which
that's
is
cool.
the outside part.
It's really cool.
I've been playing acoustic shows there off and on since they opened. And but yeah, matter of fact, last time I had been in there playing, one of the managers said, "So when are you going to play on the outside?" And I was like, "Isn't that your job to ask me when I'm supposed to play?" So anyway, kind of joking around, and they said they had some shows coming for us, and
They
we've
just
got
kind of got it going last summer, if
Yes.
I remember right. Yeah. So,
but Horse Riders Festival will be fun because you know it's great on the street. I don't know who they're having, the city's having for bands, and then they'll just mosey on over one block. And kind of go back and forth, so it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, sounds good. That's Shotgun Creek. You can check them out on Facebook. What is it, Shotgun Creek Band?
Yes.
Right? Instagram, which Shawn knows nothing about. Right?
I don't.
Truthfully, I don't either, but I know we have one. So somebody out there in Instagram land is working on it.
Okay, and did you
Xavier, yes.
Xavier, yeah.
Did you guys fire the
Johnny.
YouTube? You were working on getting the YouTube back together last time.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that. We're going to take that off the back burner this year.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, we kicked bands in the butt too while there.
We got rid of our Pornhub site.
Right.
I'm kidding.
And this is why I don't know anything about you guys. This is why I've lost touch. I mean, you know,
Sorry.
I love
right,
you as
well,
people, but just more of feed Seymour.
Thanks for coming in. And,
Thanks for having us.
Coming back.
No, this was fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Went
and,
by way too fast, but we appreciate you guys for having this show. Really do. It's awesome. I like that it's growing too. It's cool.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, and that's all thanks to Halpin Music and Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance. I'm saying it. We haven't
There
said
you
it in a
go.
while.
Smart Choice Auto, Macias Insurance, Mr. Donuts. I don't know what's going on.
Matt Van Voorhis decided to take his advertising and just give it to his friends.
Spread it around.
So
the
he
community.
pays for it, but he wants us to mention his friends' businesses. But we never know which one to mention. That's pretty righteous. I'm just
wild,
saying.
yeah.
So there you go. Big thanks to Shotgun Creek for coming in. Next time you come back, we're going to get into the whole Johnny Rampage story. We're going to get
Bring,
to
we'll try and bring
him in. I want to dive deep into Johnny Rampage's psyche.
We will do it.
Anyway, good luck at the show. Thanks so much for coming down. Big thanks to the sponsors, and everybody get out and support local music and art.